In the past, the International Player Program has produced Jordan Mailata of the Eagles, and the Kansas City Chiefs have snapped up the latest player to adorn this beautiful program, and that is Louis Rees-Zammit of the Welsh national rugby team. We will discuss how he potentially may do and what the expectations are of him within the league. Louis Rees-Zammit, the first and probably the marquee name of the International Player Program, has signed for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we expected him to sign somewhere, but did any of us expect him to sign for the Kansas City Chiefs? And not only that, on a 3-year contract. Peter, I want your thoughts first on this, because if we give a little bit of background, Louis Rees-Zammit is a 6'3", 209-pound wide receiver / running back / return man who can run a 4.43. Who ran a 4.43 on his pro day. So he's not a slouch. He's not as quick as we thought he might be, but the thing is, he said that his pro day time was slow in terms of for him. So what are your thoughts on how he can potentially do?
Well, I think he has a lot of potential in the NFL landscape. I think the biggest key will be his development, because certainly from the test and numbers, he's shown that athletically he can fit in with a lot of the mid to upper echelon NFL players. Like running a 4.43 is legit speed. And, going to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid will find ways to use that speed to use a good effectiveness for the Chiefs. I mean, adding in means and the wide receiver draft class is deep. They might not even take one in round 1. They might be able to get one in round 2 and be able to still keep rolling, because this past year they won the Super Bowl with an elite wide receiver. You add him to the offense, and it's just, he can be used in a multitude of ways. That's what his athleticism and speed speaks to me in terms of that. And he couldn't have found a better organization to join the NFL to really bring out his talent.
Yeah, no, Pete, I agree, but there's a few things here. 6'3" is no slouch. He's coming in as a fairly tall wide receiver. So usually once you get to like 6'4", 6'5", those guys are like, wow, these guys are like the top end. Like they're standing shoulder to shoulder with tackles at that point in terms of their height. This is a 6'3" guy, so he's got speed and he's also got the height. He can easily build up his frame, but I don't think he's going to.
But he's got that, like, he's got the wiggle. He's got a bit of wiggle in him. And the thing is, normally guys that big don't, if they're of that build, they don't tend to have that wiggle, but he does. You've seen it.
We've seen it. And here's the thing, like, I don't know what position he's going to play. I know they're talking about wide receiver, special teams returner. Wide receiver is all about route running. He's going to have to be, if he wants regular reps, he's going to have to learn to run these routes. And that's probably going to take a few years, maybe 2 years before he's ready. But Andy Reid knows how to utilize his weapons.
And kickoff rules. The kickoff rules have changed.
I was going to say, because kickoffs the way they are now, I wouldn't, because he's not used, he's used to the high ball. We know he can secure a high ball, but how they catch it is completely different. In rugby, it's a body catch. Like if he's on the wing, he also plays a little bit of fullback. Like you kind of have to play all three just so you understand what's happening on the rugby field. And they're all body catchers. You cannot do that in the NFL unless you're high pointing the ball. But I don't think the teams will have faith in him. But with the new kickoff rule changes, the defenders don't start running until you've caught the ball. All right. So once you've caught the ball, then they start moving, and this gives him time. This gives him running lanes. So this is something he can.
It's almost like a rugby, like they don't in rugby. You don't even have that luxury where you
exactly. So he can kind of get like a head start, get his wheels underneath him. One thing I want to add is this is the perfect situation for him to land, because Andy Reid will utilize him. I think this is going to be their Deebo Samuel, because he's got the frame where he can generate that power and he's got the speed. All right. All he needs to do now is really just work on his football IQ so he understands what's happening. And there's no better team to be on right now. Imagine if what's his name comes back. Former Washington offensive coordinator. I can't remember his name. It's left my mind.
Bieniemy.
Imagine if Eric Bieniemy, he'll ride this kid hard. He's gonna, if Eric Bieniemy works his way back and starts working with the Chiefs again, he's gonna get pushed really hard. This isn't what we had with Christian Wade. Remember, Buffalo Bills don't even run the ball like that.
There's a big difference, right? Christian Wade had already had a fully fledged rugby career. Pretty much, right? He was already the top. He was already the top
try scorer.
Top try scorer in Premiership history at that point.
Yep.
The difference is Louis Rees-Zammit is now just turned 23 years old. He is not even at the prime of his career. He is entering that point.
Yep.
So he has the potential to learn a lot quicker than all of the other two main rugby attempts in terms of outfield position, like position players rather than trench players. He has that potential to be able to do something that somebody hasn't done before. And he is also the first ever Welsh-born player in the NFL. That is something to be heralded as well.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's huge.
Yeah.
He definitely gonna make history and everything that counts with it. I mean, for me, ultimately, if his development goes the right way, and with the Chiefs, hopefully it goes the right way as we expect. He could be, he could be a Jordan Nelson type of receiver, which means someone that doesn't run all the route tree, but could be very, very effective. Because he's different to like an Adam Thielen. He's one thing I'll add because of his frame.
Although one thing I'll add, do you know what his top speed in Premiership Rugby was?
Who? Him?
Louis Rees-Zammit's top speed. He was the fastest player, but guess what top speed he recorded? 24 miles per hour.
That's lightning, man.
That is faster. That's faster than Tyreek Hill was obviously in pads, but that is faster than Tyreek Hill in terms of top speed.
So if he gets open field,
but the pad thing, the pads that you just said is a big distinction.
There's a big but I will be interested to see how fast he is with pads on, because obviously there's a little bit of restriction. But the thing is, wide receiver pads aren't as weighty as like a linebacker's pads, right? Then there's nothing.
Yeah, but it's not just the pads though. Helmet also weighs.
Correct, the helmet.
I think it's more understanding your body weight.
But you're not going to take off 5 miles an hour for that. You're going to take maybe 2 miles an hour or something like that, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but when he take that 2 miles, then he's
back to Tyreek Hill speed, and that's still ridiculously fast.
I think we can admit that he's very fast, but some of these fast people in the NFL is different because on field running in the NFL, kind of like the speed is different to rugby speed. If I may say
it's because he won't have that with the right. He'll have to have a really deep route for him to be able to get that. That it'll have to be longer than 15 yards for him to get that trot going.
End arounds, bubble screens. I'm just gonna throw a name at you. 6'2", 220 pounds. Cordell Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cordell Patterson moved. He was never good enough to be a mainline receiver, but he had the physicality, good at special teams. He could return the ball well.
And now
he's a running back now. He's transitioned into a running back.
Do you know what? As soon as the news of the rule change happened, he got signed.
Yep.
Cordell Patterson got signed.
Yep, this is huge
as well. So you can understand there is kind of a place in the league for players like this. Obviously, Cordell Patterson is a much more has a lot more reps. So he's got a ton more reps than Louis Rees-Zammit could ever think of having at the moment. But the thing is, it's a great starting point for Louis Rees-Zammit, and it can only go up in terms of him because he's got a 3-year contract. He's got 3 years to prove himself.
Yep, 3 years to prove himself. And like I think it's a really good comp in terms of what type of player I think he could be. He's not a mainline starter at tailback. He's not going to be a mainline starter at receiver, but he's a guy you can bring in for explosive plays. I wouldn't be surprised right now if they're probably going to see if he can take on what's his name, Butterfingers, from the Giants.
Kadarius.
Kadarius Toney. I can kind of feel as though they're bringing him in to see what he can do in space if given the ball, almost like a gadget player. That's not to take away from Zammit, but I think that's how they're going to use him, like a gadget player. And I can see them sort of moving on from Kadarius Toney.
My last question: you guys probably have watched him in more rugby than I have. I mean, how is his agility like?
Okay, let me put it this way. He was the future of Welsh rugby. The future.
Yeah, it's a massive loss for
It
Welsh
is
rugby.
the loss for Welsh rugby. If he is permanently gone, is huge because they do not have the talent coming through.
Yeah,
and he was the star boy, the star future of the entire nation of Wales.
Yeah, his open field running, like once he gets space, you tail lights, like you're not gonna catch him. Like he's really explosive.
But
my only issue,
explosive over straight line, or does he have
he's
a
more
lot
like
of agility and quick? Because in the NFL, right, the wide receivers or the fastest offensive weapons that are in the game have that short, quick start ability, like Tyreek Hill.
His agility is okay. His agility is all right. He's not a quick twitch receiver. Like he's not Rondell Moore. He's not like a quick twitch running back.
But it's when you have the ball in his hands, he will be able to. He has this step, which isn't like like how running back step is different, right? It's a bit more of a that's a cut. It's not a cut. This is more of. It's so fast, and it just leaves them on the floor, kind of thing.
He's like a slasher. So he's like how you guys had, what was his name from Alabama, running back, that was with the Arizona Cardinals. You brought in temporarily from Miami.
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, he's more like Kenyon Drake in that he's a slasher. But my main thing here is he's going to have to learn to run with pad level, because rugby guys, when they run open field, they're usually looking for a pass potentially. So his upright running style, he's lucky the NFL has got a lot of rule changes right now, because if he'd come into the league like 5 years ago, it would be dangerous. That's the first thing they're going to say. When contact comes, you have to lower your pad level.
Well, we've seen with some of the drills that they've been doing at IMG, they have been learning to run at pad level because they're learning to actually dip down.
You have to run low. You have to run low, because if you run like that, chest up, open field, like that's going to open yourself up. If you can get caught, but the hits, like all of your organs are there, you want to avoid those hits. So I think that's going to take a learning curve. But hey, that's what training camp is for. First day of pads, man. They're going to definitely tell. They're going to be like, all right, let's see if this Welsh guy can take a scrimmage. Let's see if he can take some skelly, some third contact, and that's going to be like his first understanding of the physicality.
And the factor of the matter is that he had 6 team visits scheduled. I think he only made it to the 3rd one before he got signed.
Yeah. Don't forget, this is like a huge PR move as well, because they want to expand the league. Remember, if he's a success, Wales is already like a red color team on their flag. Like they wear red with everything. If he's a success, how everyone in Wales is going to have a Kansas City Chiefs jersey with his name. So
it's already an infestation when it comes to, because they are the winning team at the moment, and that's how things happen in this country. They love a glory hunt, but now, do you know what the really bad thing is for the
Zammit jersey? Yeah,
but do you know the funny thing is, a lot of the UK fans, particularly the NFL fans, are like, he is one of us, right? He is from the UK. We want to see him do well. He just happens to be on the Chiefs, and the thing is,
Chiefs are a
We
championship
like
team.
you can't like some fans of the Chargers will root against the Chiefs, but they're going to root for Louis Rees-Zammit because he's from here.
Bro, that
We
Zammit
support
jersey,
our guys. We support our guys anyway.
that Zammit jersey, NFL jersey percentage cut is going to hit nice in his bank account. I'll tell you that. He might make more money from that than his
but in
name
all
checks.
seriousness, he wasn't the only person from the IPP to sign last week. But we will have another video going through talking about the other guys in the IPP and what their chances are of potentially being signed as well. But until then, we'll catch everybody on the next mini episode.